Look into your eye, I feel so alive.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. I recently just had a baby. I'm almost 3 months postpartum, and I want to go over all the things that helped me transition from having one baby to now 2 babies. I think overall it wasn't as hard of a transition as I imagined it would be. I was thinking it would be a lot harder than it was, and I think a lot of that obviously has to do with temperament. This baby seems to be very easygoing, allows me to put him down without crying for the most part, and doesn't really seem to have too many issues. His main thing is he's a very gassy baby, but other than that, if he's not having a tummy ache, he really doesn't fuss that much. So of course temperament and all of those things matter so much. So the first thing is, now that you have 2 kids and there's 2 parents most of the time, something that really helped us was having my husband kind of go full on toddler duty and me to be more focused on the newborn. So during the day, I am a stay-at-home mom, so it's just me and the 2 kids during the day. But once he comes home at nighttime, he is the one doing her nighttime routine, putting her to bed, and dealing with any of the night wakings. Our 2-year-old still does not sleep through the night, so he is the one who does that, and then I'm more focused on the night feedings with the newborn and being with him. That's something that helped us tremendously. There were lots of hiccups during the day. With nap time, she still would fall asleep on us and we'd have to transfer her into her crib. And if my newborn needed to feed at the same time or just didn't want to lie down in his bed, because I would bring a lounger into the room so that I could put him down, but if he didn't want to be in there and I had to hold both of them, it would just be really hard. She would get fussy. She wouldn't want his feet on her. Crying made it hard for her to fall asleep. I had a really hard time transferring her into the crib if I'm like holding both kids. So there was a lot of difficulty with that. And so by having my husband just put her to sleep, it's like their special time together. They get to read the books, do the bath time, cuddle, sing, pray, all those things. And that's like their time together. And then we don't have to worry about the baby's crying, he needs to feed. We just kind of split those duties at nighttime. So that would be my first trick. And we did transition him to start doing that before our baby was born. I breastfed her until she was about 20 months old, and he was born when she was 23 months. We had about a 3-month split of me not nursing her before he was born, and to transition her off of nursing, that's when we had my husband start putting her down. So he started doing this about 3 months before our baby was born. Okay, next, so we live in a 2-story townhome, and we have all of the baby things set up in my daughter's room, the nursery. We have like the changing table attached to the table and all the diapers and wipes and all those things, but we spend 85% of our day downstairs. And so having a pack and play that has the changing table and bassinet attachment on the top will be a lifesaver. I not only do all of his diapers downstairs, but my daughter is also still in diapers, and I will just change her diapers downstairs. She obviously doesn't fit on the attachment that's made for babies, but I'll just change it on the floor so that I'm not going up and down stairs all day or having to take both of them upstairs just to change a diaper and bring them both back downstairs. I just do it all downstairs when I'm downstairs. And then when he sleeps, because we have that bassinet attachment, I can just put him in the bassinet and not have to worry about bringing him upstairs, putting on a monitor, any of that stuff. Just, they're both there. It's easy. If he fusses, he cries, I'm right there so I can help him. And my daughter can just stay put and we can play. And that's been really helpful. And we also set up a little station in my bedroom because he's sleeping, as you can see, the bassinet's next to my bed, so he's sleeping in here at nighttime. And so I literally just set up a little, like a travel changing pad on the floor, have some diapers and wipes next to it, some Aquaphor. It's not pretty, it's not like the most aesthetic thing, but then I can change him in here during the nighttime or when I'm just in my room without having to go interrupt her sleeping in their room. So I rarely use the main changing table for either of them. She's too big for it, and I just don't want to interrupt her or go into her space all throughout the day. Now, when he moves into her room, you know, they are going to be sharing a room. So when he starts sleeping in his crib instead of the bassinet, then I'm sure I'll start using that more and not need all these other setups. But right now, while I'm frequently changing his diaper, those setups have been really helpful for us. And then because the attachments are on a pack and play, as he gets bigger and outgrows it, he can just nap in that pack and play downstairs. Okay, now getting ready. This took me a couple of weeks of not having enough time. In the first week, I tried to return to church, and this is when I realized, like, okay, I did not give myself enough time, and I wasn't even able to go because I just couldn't get everyone ready in time. give yourself way more time than you think you need to get ready, because you are now not only getting yourself and your toddler ready, but you're getting a newborn ready, which includes nursing, because you're nursing every 2 hours or every 3 hours, and you never know how long they're gonna go. They could want like a 2-minute feed, or it could be a 20, 30, 45-minute feed. You never really know how long it's gonna go, and you want to account for that in your getting ready time. So something that's been helpful for me is I try to get up before they do. So I know that my newborn, he gets up around 6:30 every day, sometimes 5:30, and always feeds, and then we'll go back to sleep for 2 hours and then have like a longer wake window come like 7:30, but he always feeds around 6 a.m. My daughter doesn't wake up until like 6:30, sorry, not 6:30, till 7:30, 8 a.m. I, knowing that, well, let's say, you know, he's up at 6, okay, I'll nurse him at 6 o'clock, and then I'll just stay up. And while he's sleeping and my daughter's still sleeping, I get myself ready first. And I always get myself ready first so that whatever comes up with the kids, I don't have to worry about trying to get ready. I can just focus on them for the remainder of the time. And that's what you need the majority of the buffer for. So I can get ready really quickly, probably like 20 minutes if I'm doing a shower, 30 minutes. But that's another tip. I always shower at nighttime so that I don't have to worry about that when I'm getting ready in the morning. So just to throw on clothes, makeup, do my hair, I can usually do that in like 20 minutes. So I'll do that. And then I know that like making breakfast can take a really long time. And if my husband's able, he'll try to do breakfast and help with toddler duty, especially if I get on nursing for a long time. But just give yourself ample amount of time so that you can get yourself and them ready. I make sure that she has enough time too. I can't just wake her up 10 minutes before we leave and have her be okay. So I account for all of that in the getting ready time. And then my newborn, all I have to do is put him in clothes, but I need to account for that nursing time. The next thing is what to do while you're nursing your baby. So my daughter had a little bit of a hard time transitioning to us bringing home our baby. She absolutely loves him, adores him, wants to take care of him. He's her best friend. She wants to play with him constantly. However, as a stay-at-home mom, she was used to getting all of my attention 24/7. And now you're having to split attention with 2 babies, and you're more sedentary when you're having to nurse for long periods of time. So when we first had him, she would act out, and we are typically a no screen time family. I really only pull it out in like desperate scenarios, you know, if we're all sick, or one time I got injured and really couldn't move around the house, so like in that time. But we really don't do screen time, and every time I do it, it just reminds myself why I don't do it, because it always creates worse behavior, at least in my experience, what I've seen with my own daughter. And I'm very, 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 very picky about what she can watch, even in that very limited screen time. However, one of the desperate times I needed to lean on it was when I was first nursing, because she had a very hard time with me having to pull my attention and nurse him. And so if you are also a no screen time family and you guys are a Christian family, and you're familiar with the show The Chosen, they actually have a kids version of that show. It's called The Chosen Adventures, and they're just 10 to 15-minute episodes, and they're not like 100% on the Bible, but there's usually some sort of biblical messaging in it, or some sort of storyline that comes from the Gospels in it. So that was something that I used the first couple of weeks, is I would let her watch like a 10 to 15-minute episode while I nursed. Eventually they get used to it, and I was able to stop playing it. She would say, watch, because she saw me nursing, and I'd say, nope, we're not gonna watch today. And I think she maybe protested for a day or two, and then she moved on, and now she just plays. Or we go through different phases. Sometimes she'll bring me my phone and say, play music, and I'll let her pick songs while I'm nursing, or she'll want to read a book. It kind of changes, but she did eventually get past it. It really only took me 1 to 2 weeks of doing that. But if you're desperate and you don't typically do that, that is a good option. It's on Amazon and it was free. If your family likes to walk, I would say a double stroller, if your older child is still young, is really helpful. Even though my daughter does love to walk on her own, she doesn't always want to walk, especially when it's hot, it's summertime, or she's just straight up not in the mood. Having a double stroller was very helpful, so that I could have them both in it, and we can still go on our daily walks and have that experience together. And then of course, if you're going somewhere like the zoo or something that requires more walking, very helpful. Now, something that was a big change with my daughter, we contact napped for a very long time, for about 10 months, I would say, her main form of napping was contact napping before we started enforcing the crib. I even remember, if you guys have seen on my channel, I did an unpopular mom opinions video, and I said I think contact napping is better. Even though I did love contact napping, I do think having her always napping on us did lead to some of her issues with sleeping later down the line. And so with our newborn, we are having him sleep a lot more in his own space. Also, practically, I can't just sit and have him nap on me for 2 or 3 hours when I have another child that I'm taking care of. But you still do want to have that intimate bonding time with your baby. You don't want to always just have them in another space. You want to be able to hold them and do skin to skin and bond with them too. And so at first I was really struggling, like, how can I kind of try to create better sleep habits? How can I be able to move around with my older daughter more often and not be held down with him, holding him, but still bond with him and still have close connection and touch with him? And so something that helped me is whenever she's napping or she's gone down for bed for the night, because typically your toddler will go to bed earlier than your newborn will. The newborn is not on a schedule yet, so they're up later. I will always contact nap with him. So that's something that I've kind of done, is I try to be really intentional about just having that bonding time with him when it's just us. And then when I'm balancing, especially by myself, both of them, that's when I will put him in his own space more for sleeping. Another tip is trying to involve the toddler and newborn into play and activities together. So for example, if I have to change his diaper, I'll be like, Isabella, that's my toddler's name, can you hand me a diaper, or can you get Aquaphor? And now she just knows, and she'll be like, Aquaphor, wipes, Sheppy's diaper, that's his name's Shepherd, and she'll just like hand it to me, and it's a fun adventure for her. If he's on the play mat, I'll be like, hey, do you want to show him how to use the play mat? And so she'll go and be like, look, you hit here. Or every time I put him on the swing, she'll want to press the button to make it move and the music. So like involving them so that it's fun. Whenever I'm holding him after I nurse him and I'm burping him, she'll always be like, cuddle time, and come and like cuddle, and we'll all just kind of cuddle together. So just really involving them, so it's not like, okay, this is the newborn activity, this is the toddler activity, but just making it all one big family activity as much as possible has been really helpful. And even like just now, I actually stopped filming because her and my newborn are with my husband at the moment, and my newborn has the hiccups, and they're so observant. It's crazy how much toddlers pick up, and she always hears me say like, oh, when he has hiccups, the pacifier helps him. So he'll have hiccups, I'll be like, oh, let me go grab the pacifier because he has hiccups. And she picks up on that. And so I just stopped filming because she was coming down the hallway and goes, Shepherd has hiccups, I need his pacifier. Like, it's crazy, and she wants to help. And so that's another thing, especially if you have a girl, they're very maternal and they love helping, and it makes them feel really good to help. So having them involved in play and in like tasks you have to do for the baby can be really helpful. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier when I was saying that nap time can be kind of rough, something that has really helped is we have a baby lounger, and I keep that in my daughter's room. So anytime I'm in my daughter's room and I'm getting her dressed, putting her down for a nap, changing her diaper, just anything that needs to be done in her room, I have this lounger, and it's a place for him to go. So having like a dedicated space for your baby to go in each room, you know, in my room, I can put him in the bassinet. In Isabella's room, we have the lounger. Downstairs, we have the pack and play with the bassinet extension, different like toys scattered throughout the house, so that wherever they are, you have something to give them. That's really helpful. And I have solved naps a little bit. We're enforcing the crib more, and so being able to put her down in the crib and not have her fall asleep on me has helped tremendously for that. If you do have a toddler who still needs you to fall asleep on, I would recommend doing your best. Of course, I am fully aware children are very unpredictable, and sleep can be so challenging depending on your baby. But if you're able to have them at least fall asleep on their own in their own bed and not on you, that will be very helpful, because trying to take care of a baby and then you need a toddler who needs to be on you, it's just unpredictable if your baby's going to need to nurse or need you during that time. And unless you just contact nap with your toddler the whole time, you're going to eventually have to transfer them, and doing that with both your hands full can be really difficult. And also, even if you did just sit there and contact nap the whole time with your toddler, There's nothing saying your baby's not gonna cry, he's not gonna need to feed, he's not gonna have a blowout, like something like that, and that will wake up your toddler too. So trying to have them sleep in their own space will be very helpful, and then having somewhere to put your baby while you're doing that has been very helpful for me. Now, there are times where they're both going to cry at the exact same time, and for this, I just say priority and rotate. If someone is hurt, that's priority. You know, if your daughter or your older child is bleeding everywhere, go take care of that. If your newborn, the alarm just went off and it's their feeding time and they really need to be fed, take care of that. If they just had a blowout, take care of that. Like, figure out the priority. But if they're both crying and they're like of equal importance, sometimes rotate them and kind of make them both wait. Like, not only do I want to say, hold on to my toddler, like, you know, hold on, I have to feed Shepherd, hold on, I need to change his diaper. But I try to do that for him too, so that she doesn't feel like she's always the one that I'm making wait or always second to the baby. But I'll be like, hold on, Shepherd, I have to help Isabella right now, put on a band-aid. I have to get her diaper changed. I'm helping her with this toy, like whatever it is, and try to kind of like rotate taking care of needs so that one doesn't feel more prioritized over the other, but also like measuring the priority in my head of like, okay, obviously this is more important at this moment. And if I'm not able to help quickly, then it's sort of like, okay, you know, like if I'm trying to put my older daughter down and she's taking a while to fall asleep and my baby's been crying for 5 minutes, then it's like, okay, Isabella, I need to leave you in the crib for a moment. I need to turn my attention to Shepherd. I need to get him fed, and I will help you in a minute. Try to, you know, self-soothe. I'll play some music or something, grab Shepherd, put him on me if I need to nurse him or change his diaper, and then turn my attention back to my daughter and kind of do it at the same time, but like rotate in that way. That's been helpful for us. And as I mentioned, the toddler picks up so much, and so if I'm like changing my daughter on her changing table and I hear Shepherd start crying from his nap on the bassinet, she'll literally yell and be like, hold on, Shepherd, changing Bella's diaper, like because she hears me say like, hold on 1 second, hold on, you know. And so she doesn't feel second always. She's like, hold on, she's doing that. And then she's more understanding when I say that to her because I'm helping him with something. Now, as I mentioned earlier with the hiccups example, having a pacifier can be really helpful. I wouldn't say he loves it. Like, I wouldn't call him a pacifier baby where you're always seeing it in his mouth. But my daughter never used the pacifier. And so with that, a lot of times she would comfort nurse and use me not just for feeding, but also when she needed to comfort, to fall asleep. And if you've ever had a comfort nurser, you start to feel their bites slow down because they start falling asleep, or they just needed a little, and then randomly they kind of do it again, and it turns into them using you as a pacifier. You can't always just sit and be your baby's pacifier. I cannot be nursing for 45 minutes if he's not truly hungry for 45 minutes. He just wants to comfort when I'm taking care of a toddler. And so if you are able to get them to use a pacifier for those things, that can be helpful so that you're not so needed for that at that moment. Also, using a baby carrier, I'm sure you guys know this already. If I am not in a rush and nothing like has to be done, then I'll try to be attentive to his needs, not always just stick him on me. But if he's really fussy that day and I have things I need to get done, you just gotta strap him on so you can keep going with what you gotta do, and it just kind of is what it is. And of course, when you're out and about, like if I'm going to church or there's some sort of social gathering or I'm just out of the house, then you gotta put him on the carrier. It's just kind of a necessity. I hardly used it with my toddler unless we were out of the house, but I use it at least once a day, having him and her. Okay, those are all the things that I'm currently doing that has helped me transition from having 1 kid to 2 kids. If you are currently in this transition, don't be afraid. It is really not as bad as you might think. It's honestly the sweetest thing. Like, watching them become best friends already, and he's only 3 months old, is just so sweet. And trying to balance 2 in diapers, it's really not that bad. If you have 2 kids or you have more than 2 kids and you have other tips that I didn't say, definitely leave them in the comments so we can help each other all out. If you like this kind of video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.